Hello everyone, I hope you're well, and I'm really sorry to begin the video in this way by me begging you to help us out. For weeks and weeks now, our wee subscriber count there in the bottom right hand corner of the screen has been stuck permanently, it seems, on 32.9k. For weeks and weeks, we have tried to get to 33,000 subscribers and not yet managed it. And now here I am, a grown man, genuinely begging, not quite on my knees, but not far off it, for you to get us to 33,000 subscribers. We are, I think, about 20 away. Now, think thousands watch these videos every day who aren't subscribed. If just 20 of you can just click that wee button and get us to 33,000 subscribers, you'll make me very, very happy. And more than that, you'll make Stevie happy as well. Thank you. Right everyone, it is Monday, and on this fine Monday in mid-October, we are bringing back the Monday Roundup. It has been weeks and weeks and weeks since we have done this, mainly because there's not been rafts and rafts of news, and also because it's just been very disjointed, both Celtic-wise and 67 Hail-Hail-wise. But Celtic are back, 6-1 at the weekend. We're back now for good, touch wood. No more hiccups, it's not even wood, but we'll go with it. And hopefully we can all just kick on from this stage. So yeah, Roundup is coming up. Before then, let's start with a wee bit of chat from the weekend against Hibernian. I have now managed to see the majority of the match. It was a great afternoon, 6 goals, so many positives to take away. The main one being that it moved us 5 points clear at the time. As you can see now, the gap is back to just 2 points at the top, with a trip to struggling Hearts and Tynecastle up next in the league. Now, as a fellow Prestwicker, and also having known him kind of over the years growing up, I really must spend the next however many minutes chatting about James Forrest, our hat-trick hero from the weekend, getting his 98th, 99th and 100th goals for Celtic. Just the 30th player to reach that 100 mark in Celtic's history, which is crazy. Who are the other 29, I hear you say? Well, here you go. James Forrest there, as you can see on the left, and also at the bottom in tied 29th now. And just look at some of the names, not least Jimmy McGrory, number 1 there. Was that 468 goals? I mean, we could sign Erling Haaland tomorrow, probably give him 30 years in a Celtic shirt, and even he wouldn't reach that total. I think it's safe to say that's never been beaten. To Bobby Lennox, Henrik Larsson, Stevie Chalmers, going down the list a bit, Kenny Dalglish is in there, Dixie Deans, Jimmy Johnson, Charlie Nicholas, Lee, elsewhere Frank McGarvey, and all the way down to James Forrest and tied 29th there with Alec Thompson. Now, of those, 30 players there, James Forrest is realistically the only one who's going to add to his tally. And how high do we reckon James Forrest could go, just looking at that list? I mean, he's 31 years old. Has he got enough to get into the top half there? Has he got another 27, 28 goals in him in a Celtic shirt? I'd say that very much depends on whether he can really become a mainstay again. I think if he can, he could hit another 10 goals this season. If he can get back to playing regularly for Celtic, he's going to score goals, as we saw at the weekend. So it's amazing to think that James Forrest, not even a striker, could end up, potentially as in the top 15 of Celtic's goal scorers when he hangs up his boots. It's amazing. Wee quiz question, by the way. Out of all of James Forrest's current teammates, who do you reckon is the next highest? He's got 58 goals. Let you have a wee think for a wee minute, and I'll just stare awkwardly around the room. It's Callum McGregor. Again, a decent tally. I mean, could Callum McGregor join the 100 club? How many midfielders are there in there? Not too many that I can see. Callum McGregor, what would he need to average? So this is really riveting conversation, I'm sure. But if he's on 58 now, another, 40 odd, Callum McGregor's got at least another 6, 7, 8 seasons at Celtic, I think. I don't think he's going to leave now. So an average of 5 a year, 6 a year would probably get him there. So yeah, Callum McGregor's the next highest. I think the reason that there's no one else really with as many as that is that basically the rest of the squad either don't score goals at all or they've just joined the club recently. So maybe someone like Giakoumakis, if he stays long enough, could do it. But I think those players are him and Kyogo and Abada and players like that will probably move on before they can reach 100 goals. So it's a very kind of specific thing. You have to stay long enough at the club, have that longevity that Ange touched on at the weekend. That's so difficult at a club like Celtic. And you also have to score goals. I mean, that's stating the obvious, but James Forrest has kind of done that consistently, certainly over the last 4 or 5 seasons. If he gets a run in the team and gets minutes on the pitch, he will score goals, as we saw at the weekend. So, yeah, amazing. Celtic actually posted a brilliant video. Terrific. Wasted 30 minutes earlier when I should have been preparing for this video. A compilation of all of James Forrest's goals for the club, going all the way back to, I think it was 2010, that first goal he scored against Motherwell, and goes all the way up until the weekend against Hibs. And it's just fantastic. It really brings into focus, for me anyway, how many big goals James Forrest has scored for us. Like, so many big goals that you kind of forget about. And he celebrates every one of them in the exact same way, which I found quite funny. He kind of runs over and then turns around and puts his arms out. And actually, earlier today, I picked my top 5 goals, and with this ball that I keep going on about, I went outside into my garden and recreated them. So let's cross over to the garden now. Yeah, it was raining earlier, so couldn't really do that. So I'll just tell you about my top 5. No particular order. Karagandhi, that's really all you need to say. Rangers 5-0 game. He scored the 3rd goal in that game. Just fantastic. I know I said I'm not ranking them, but probably my favourite. The long-range belter against Hibernian in the 2-0 cup game. I think it was the second game back in Neil Lennon's second spell. Really kind of struggling in that game to break Hibs down. It was just brilliant. He scored so many good goals at Easter Road, James Forrest. Opener against Aberdeen in the 2016 League Cup final, and a solo goal he scored against Alloa in the same competition. Again, that was a night when we were struggling to break the Championship team down, and he scored a great goal. So yes, check out that compilation. I love the fact that he celebrates the first goal with Diamanti Kamara and the last one with Georgios Giakoumakis. That just kind of blew my mind a little bit. And the final wee bit on James Forrest, there was actually a tweet that went out from Tim Trivia, which I've not verified at all, but we'll take it at face value. And it was this: the ages of James Forrest's teammates when he scored his first goal for Celtic against Motherwell. Liel Abada, as you can see, was 7 years old, for example, which kind of, again, just brings it into focus how long James Forrest has been at Celtic and what he's achieved, and hopefully far more to come as well. And I think away from all the chat about him breaking records and all the kind of historical nostalgia, I think it's quite an important thing as well that James Forrest came back and scored a hat-trick at the weekend. If he can become a big player for us again and play regularly, it would be such a big addition to our ranks, especially when I think, Maida and Abada have been struggling a bit lately. Both of those guys are quite young, and I think James Forrest, if he was able to come in and really kind of take the load off those guys and reliably get his goals, as we know he has done, as I say, between about 2016 and probably 2019, James Forrest was hitting 17, 18 goals consistently every season, and that would be huge for us if we can get that back into the team. I think it's almost like a new signing. It's something I didn't see coming. We'll need to wait and see if it does play out, but if the weekend's anything to go by, James Forrest can still be a big player for Celtic. So I think it's great news Talking of news, let's move on. Not actually a huge amount to get through. The big one I want to touch on that you will no doubt have seen if you've been on the aforementioned social media between about late last night and any time today is that there is footage beginning to trickle out from Celtic's We Never Stop season review DVD. Now, sadly, for some reason, the club only seem to have made this available on DVD. So you need to be back in like the early 21st century with a working DVD player in your house to actually purchase this and watch it, which I could moan about forever. But anyway, we'll move on. The footage coming out from this season review DVD is just brilliant. It's been posted on social media by some very hard-working people. And one of the main kind of video that's been going about last night was Ange addressing his team after we won the title at Tannadice and telling them about the significance of the victory, talking about the fact that the previous season had been such a difficult one for the Celtic support, and now his players and his team had given them something to be happy about. He made some comment about doesn't matter how much money they've got, they don't care, they feel like the richest people in the world tonight, and you've made it happen. So that was amazing, not least for the bit at the end when Josip Juranovic, who wasn't even like fit at the time from memory, I'm sure he was injured, and he says some comment about off tomorrow, are we off tomorrow? And the glare that Ange gives him. I mean, this video is watchable. It's like 2 minutes long, but just watch it near the end if you're stuck for time for the glare Ange gives Josip Juranovic. It's like... That's terrible impersonation, but it is... You're in no doubt about who is boss. Even having just won the league and partying and all that, the idea of getting a day off isn't in Ange's mind at all. And I think that's what we love about what he's creating and the players are creating. Maybe under previous regimes it would have been a day off and we'd have gone into trophy day against Motherwell a few days later, and it might have been flat, we might have drawn or even lost. Not with this Celtic team. We won the game 6-0 and gave the fans an amazing party, and then they got their days off in the summer. So it's just a brilliant glimpse into what life is like at Celtic playing under Ange. The other clip from a few days later after the Motherwell game shows both Nir Bitton and Tom Rogic saying their thanks and their goodbyes to the Celtic players, and they're both quite emotional. Great content. We just need to find a way for people like me who don't have a DVD player to be able to watch it in full. And speaking of things that were incredibly good in the late noughties but have certainly run out of steam a bit now, Shunsuke Nakamura has pretty much announced his retirement from football. That's according to Japanese outlet Sponichi. Nakamura is now 44. He's been playing professional football since 1997. He started in his homeland with Yokohama F. Marinos, a club that we are now basically attached to and in debt to. Nakamura then went on to play for the likes of Regina, Espanyol, and of course Celtic between those two. He scored 31 goals for Celtic, assisted 36 more in 145 appearances. Maybe he can make a late push for the Japanese World Cup squad. I wouldn't rule it out. The manager does seem to prefer older players. Maybe Nakamura, Hatate midfield would be amazing. But no, seriously, Nakamura, I could speak for hours and hours on him. The first player I really kind of fell in love with watching Celtic when I had my first season ticket, 2005. He was the guy who was the kind of main man at that stage, having just signed from Regina. So we wish him all the best. Elsewhere, this is the week. This is the week that we see the VAR. Kind of half-hearted effort there from me, but it is a big week in terms of video assistant referee. This Saturday against Hearts, it's shaping up to be a big game for a number of reasons. It always is at Tynecastle, but also because VAR is going to be making its debut in a domestic Celtic match, and also its debut in a televised Scottish football match. So it's going to be very exciting. We're hoping to have a specific video on VAR later in the week, maybe a bit of an explainer, some other stuff going on as well. But it is sure to add plenty of drama both over the next 7 days and also like for the rest of the time. I mean, I remember when people used to think the VAR would like stop a lot of the debate. I mean, it's just going to add even more. And that's not even in Scottish football. Like, imagine what is going to go down. Imagine the worst thing that will happen with VAR, and Scottish football will find a way to beat it. And personally, I mean, obviously I hope it doesn't affect Celtic adversely, but a bit of drama wouldn't be bad, eh? A bit of drama. We dodgy penalty for Celtic might be good on Saturday at Tynecastle. Really see what the reaction is from Robbie Neilson and the rest of Scottish football to that. Yeah, our games this week are actually pretty good, even without VAR. It's obviously not going to be used on Wednesday night when we go to Fir Park to take on Motherwell in the Cup, and then Tynecastle at the weekend. So 2 pretty tough away games, but 2 tasty matches as well. And given that it's not Europe, we don't have to worry too much about getting a humping. Watch us lose like 4-0 on Saturday. Now I've said that, and bring it on. Can't wait for it. A couple of really tasty games to get our teeth into this week, and we're going to be with you every step of the way on the channel with previews, reactions, VAR chat. Jackie McNamara is back on the channel this week as well. So yes, lots and lots happening. Thanks for watching this video, and I shall chat to you tomorrow.